The Shock Therapy Podcast.
It's that boom, 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 boom.
At that point, electric current is passed between the electrodes in the head.
That shit just kicked in. I just feel like I smoked 1,000 blunts.
For discovery brings with it the penalties of society. Shame, arrest, prison.
Oh, sorry, I was taking life seriously.
I'm over the end dangerous territory. This is dangerous territory right here. I'm in.
I don't know what psychotic means, really.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to the Shock Therapy Podcast for Tuesday, December 29th. I'm your host, Carson McGregor, and I am very excited that 2020 is about to be over. We're going to be done with this bullshit, and we're going into 2021, where everything's going to be different, and the coronavirus won't exist anymore. New Year's Day, when the clock strikes midnight, coronavirus is just going to be extinct. We're all going to be fine. Everybody's going to be butt fucking in the streets, and it's going to be a joyous affair. I'm very excited for this year to be over with, in all seriousness, because it's just been a weird one. And I think for a lot of people, that mental reset of a new year is very important. It means something to somebody out there. Otherwise, people wouldn't be talking about it the way they're talking about it. And I've never been the type to make New Year's resolutions. I've never been the type to care about the new year all that much. I said on a previous podcast with Mikey that the new year doesn't really mean anything in terms of my personal life. I really use my birthday as a barometer of how things are going for me. I go birthday to birthday. That's how I make resolutions. What am I going to do this year? What am I trying to accomplish this year? Speaking of Mikey, shout out to that man's who got me this shirt. If you can't see it, it says totally sponsored by RC Cola, which is true. This podcast is sponsored by RC Cola. I've kind of been off my game advertising wise recently. I haven't been promoting them as much, and you know what? It's just because of dental health. You know, I had multiple cavities. I went to the dentist. They told me I had multiple cavities, and now I'm pissed off at all the soda and bullshit I've been drinking. It's mostly that. It's mostly soda and energy drinks. That's what they told me. That's really fucking up my dental health. So I haven't been promoting it as much, but it's still the greatest soda of all time. Better than Coke, better than Pepsi. You got to know it. Anyway, back to what I'm trying to say here, talking about the new year. I don't really make resolutions, but for the sake of this podcast, for the sake of content, for the sake of my own mental health, I'm gonna try to rattle off some of the shit that I want to get done this year. Number one, I want to have a new job because working fucking sucks. Working fucking sucks. And I want a job where I can do something that I like. Not saying that my jobs right now are the worst. There's definitely people out there with like way worse jobs who are getting paid less money. But still, I'm getting paid pretty low. And I don't like the idea of being stagnant with my jobs and just continuing to work at them. That makes me really uncomfortable because I'm like, whoa, what if I just stay here? What if I stay at this fucking job and I don't progress? That scares the fuck out of me more than anything else. That's my biggest fear in life, is that I just never figure it out. You know, everybody always tells you you'll figure it out. You're young. You're gonna figure it out. You're gonna find the thing you're gonna do, and it's all gonna be okay. And I like the optimism, but at the same time, there's plenty of people who don't. There's plenty of people who never figure it out. They never find what they're supposed to be doing. They never find happiness in their careers, and they die working a job that they hated. Same thing happens in relationships. You know, you date somebody for a long time, and you just settle for them because you think it's been years and I can't find anybody better than this. This is not ideal, but it's the best thing that's going to happen for me. And now that's partially your own yourself. You're just beating yourself up there. But a lot of people don't find love. A lot of people don't find their partner, the person they need to be with. The population's are not one and one. It's not like for every straight man, there's a straight woman out there, 1-to-1 exactly across the population. For every gay man, there's another gay man out there, vice versa with lesbians, that there's definitely going to be somebody out there for you. It's just not how it works. There's plenty of people that die alone. Plenty of people that die alone. And there's nothing really wrong with that. I think that we, as a culture, as a society, we do live in a society, if you weren't aware. We look down upon that a lot. The idea of not finding a partner as you grow old. But, like, who fucking cares? Who fucking cares, man? I think it's nice. I think the idea of it is nice. But at the same time, I think we just got to stop, like, looking down upon that so much. Because if people were comfortable dying with just friends and people that have been in and out of their lives as, like, partners, and not having a lifelong partner that they grow old with, if people were more comfortable with that, I think you'd get less people that just jump into a relationship and stay there just because it seems safe. I think you'd have less of that, because I think that's ultimately a lot of people's fear with relationships, is that they're never going to find the right one. So they have to find somebody that they can stand to be around and can stand to be around them, so that they can just make something work. And a lot of people settle for that reason. And that brings me to number 2 of my fucking weird grab bag of New Year's resolutions. I gotta consistently avoid getting in a relationship just because I'm bored. That is the ultimate goal with dating this year, is don't do it if it doesn't feel right. Because there's been multiple times throughout this quarantine where I'm like, man, I wish I had a girlfriend. I wish I had somebody. I wish I had a girl. I don't need a girlfriend. I got way too much shit going on right now. I don't need a girlfriend. It's the last thing I should be thinking about. But I do think about it because it's lonely not having somebody in your life like that. But at the same time, it's unfair to another person to just jump into something with them where they have, they envision this long-term thing, and then after a couple months you're like, oh shit, I only got into this because I was fucking lonely and I really don't want to do this long-term, which is exactly how I see that scenario playing out in my head for me. Because before this quarantine, when I could still be around people often, I didn't think about that whatsoever. So I know that it's just getting to me. The being by myself is just getting to me. It's eating away at me. So I'm trying to avoid that as much as I possibly can. Number 3 on my list is investing more. That is my biggest piece of advice. If I have any advice to give to anybody that's around my age, is fucking invest your money. Invest your money. This year has been my year where I've opened my eyes to the flaws of capitalism, the flaws to the world we live in. And at first I thought, man, I want to get out of this. I want to not play this game. I don't want to do this. I just want to find something I like to do, get paid to do it, and then that's it. But the problem is that's starting to not become it. Like, you can find something you like to do, get paid a reasonable amount of money for it, and it's still really fucking tough to pay for all the things you need to pay for. The amount of expenses that people have is rising, and the amount of disposable money they have to pay for those expenses is shrinking. So you could be making $50,000 a year thinking, it's all gravy, I'm fine, and then it's not fine. Because things happen, and shit is expensive. Medical bills are expensive. Fucking car payments are expensive. Something happens to your house, it's expensive to fix. And most people don't have the money set aside to just take care of problems when they arise. And so I'm trying to invest my money so that I have some sort of security blanket if something goes horribly wrong in my life. And I need a large amount of money at one time. You know, that's very important to me at this point. And I don't understand the stock market. I don't understand it. That was another thing that was keeping me from investing, was like, oh, I don't fucking get the stock market. You really don't have to. Another thing I've learned, you know, when you watch Wolf of Wall Street, I remember seeing that movie, and they kind of stressed that a lot of these guys that are doing this stockbroker shit, it's not like they're the smartest guys in the world, or they're really even that knowledgeable about all the different, you know, global markets that you need to know about in order to kill it in the stock market. They're just sleazy, and they kind of start to learn the ebbs and flows of things, of how things work in the stock market. You know, you can just do a little bit of reading. Do a little bit of reading. What are the types of stocks I need to invest in right now? Tech stocks. Okay, boom. I'm going to put my money in this, this, and this. Diversify a little bit. Put it in a bunch of separate things. You know, because if you put it in one stock and that stock shits the bed, then you just lost money, and you just have to wait for that stock to come back up, or just, you know, fucking cut your losses and take your money out, and then you've just lost money on a stock. But if you put it in 5 things and you lose money on 3 of them, but then one of them just fucking bolts, you know, just goes up really high, then you'll either make money or break even. You know? It just makes a lot more sense to diversify your portfolio. I didn't even know what that meant until this year. I had no knowledge of any stock-related thing until this year, but it's got me hooked. It's definitely like a gambling thing. I have this addictive personality. I've been I've had my struggles with addiction in the past. And when I was at rehab, I met a lot of gambling addicts. I met a lot of people that were just viciously addicted to gambling. They could not stop. They were guys that were respectable looking dudes, you know, gray hair, in their 50s, have kids, wives, big houses, nice cars, all this shit. And they got so deep into this gambling shit that a guy was telling me a story about how he was at a buddy's house and he stole the skis from his garage. There was a pair of skis, nice skis in his garage. And so on his way out of the house, he saw the skis and he took them and he put them in his car and he left. He like stole skis from a buddy of his because he was out of money. Nobody knew he was out of money because that's part of the whole addiction thing. You don't want anybody to know about it, so you cover it up and you make it seem like nothing's wrong until it all blows up in your face. So nobody knew that all this bullshit was going on in this guy's life. And he was stealing skis. He said he would go to buddies' houses and steal shit, like TVs, whatever. He would steal to support his gambling habit. I don't know why I got off on that little rant right there, but the stock market does feel like gambling. It super feels like gambling. But if you're not doing penny stocks and you're not, you know, betting on things that are like $5 a share in the stock market, and you put a bunch of money in there hoping that it's going to just skyrocket all of a sudden off of very little knowledge. If you're not doing that type of shit, because that's just pure gambling. That's pure gambling. There's no skill there. It's just mostly luck. But if you kind of bet on stocks that are going to be okay, that are going to stay relatively stable, and you're just hoping for a slight incline, that's the safest way to do it. That's the safest way to do it. Now, I'll be honest with you. I've saved up a little bit chunk of money by working over the past year, so I have a little bit of money to throw around and to play with. And so I have been making not safe investments. And some of them work. Some of them work. I mean, I made like $200 last week, and I don't know anything about this shit. Nothing. Not a fucking thing. And then there's relatively safe investments that are probably going to make you money regardless. Stuff like Tesla, that's going to make you money. There's almost no way that doesn't make you money in the long term. You know, shit like Alibaba, Google, shit is going to continue to increase over time. That is my biggest piece of advice. Invest your money. Do something with it. Do fucking something with it. Because I don't like capitalism, but I gotta play the game. I have to play the game. There's just no way around it. I can't think of a way to get around it unless I were to like move to another country and become a sheep herder. And I don't like sheep that much. I don't like sheep at all, dude. They're gross. They're gross. They look cute in fucking commercials and TV shows and shit when you see them on a screen. It's just these, pristine white sheep. But then they're just like, they're mangy. They got all this shit in their fur. When you see them in real life, they're gross. They're fucking gross. I don't want to herd sheep or cows or anything that like your whole environment is going to smell like animal shit. I don't want to be in on that. I thought farming seemed like a pretty cool career path. About like a year or two ago, I was thinking like maybe I should just be a farmer. That would be lit. And then I went to farms and it smells like shit and there's no way to avoid it. You just can't escape it. You can go in the farmhouse, and you're like, it still smells like shit. It's going through the walls. It's coming in through the walls. And there's no escape to this fecal fucking smell. It's nasty. It's nasty. And then you got to deal with animal problems. You think you got problems. Animals got fucking problems, dude. They got diseases that we don't have. They'll start to have like a growth on their underbelly. You're like, what the fuck is that? And then you got to get it taken care of. You got to take it to some animal doctor. And now you're paying medical bills for like not even a person. I don't know. That just seems like a no-win scenario there. Unless you can make like a ton of money in it. It just seems like a fucking thankless job. Farmers get the raw deal, man. They get the raw deal. I watched this John Oliver thing on farmers. And how they just make no money. They produce all the food and they make no money. It's like big companies that buy out their farms. Because big companies like Tyson put out these big factory farms that can make shit a lot cheaper. And so like these other farmers have to like sell to Tyson. They have to sell all their shit to Tyson. They're forced. Their hands are fucking tied. And Tyson just does not pay them what it's worth. Because it's like, what else are you going to do? Who are you going to sell it to? Are you going to sell it to these other people at the price that you'd actually make some money at? Because they're not going to buy it. They're just going to buy it from me because nobody cares anymore. People make fun of these Whole Foods fucks. People buying like, oh, the free range organic, blah, 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 these hippy dippy people. But they got a point. It's a concept called full cost pricing. It's where you pay what the thing is fucking worth. You pay what it actually takes environmentally and labor-wise to get that piece of chicken in your hand. You pay for it. Like the cost at Whole Foods and shit, they're not like inflated prices. That's what these things should cost. But factory farms make it so that we don't have to pay for that. Now there is an advantage to that because if you're broke as fuck and you need eggs, it sucks to spend fucking $6 on a carton of eggs when you could spend $1 at Walmart. So there is an advantage there, but it's an advantage that only works in the context of capitalism. If we were living in a world where there was small farm communities across the nation and everybody was kind of self-sustaining, and then some dude came in and he was like, hey, I'll sell you chicken for $1, and then it's just like gross and different and like it just seems like wrong because you've been having normal chicken your entire life. It's like, this chicken seems like it was abused. I can taste the abuse in the fucking chicken thighs. We would never buy from that guy. Everybody would be like, get out of here, man. I can buy from Farmer Joe down the street. I'm a woodworker. I can make him a canoe with my hands and he'll get me chicken for a year. That's how it works in these small farmer communities. It seems ideal. It really seems ideal, but then you can't have iPhones. It's the trade-off. It's the fucking trade-off. We either get really high-tech shit. People in India, China, and other countries suffer because of it, and we just have to look the other way. And then we live in this like weird capitalist hellscape where some people just are living in absolute luxury and some people are just starving. And they live right down the street from one another. It doesn't make a lick of sense. Or we could live in small farming communities and nobody gets to live in luxury. Everybody is on the same level, even playing field for the most part. I don't know. I don't know what's better. I don't know what's better. Everybody being okay, or some people being fucking great and others being impoverished. I don't really know what's better. That's a joke, by the way. I do know which one's better. I do know which one's better. The problem with it is you don't really know how that works because it's never been done on a large scale in the modern era. Technology fucks that up. If you know there's somebody out there that has a Lamborghini and you see it and it's cool, then you might not be as satisfied living the Amish lifestyle. I give shit to the Amish. Y'all might not know this about me. I do give a lot of shit to the Amish. I don't trust them. I think they're sketchy, but I think they have it down. If it wasn't for the religion, the really traditional religious values they have, I would be down with being Amish. Who's fucking sang that song? Down with the Amish? Ooh, that one, I know it's not Down with the Amish. I would be down with that way of life if they weren't so deep into their religious values, because it seems pretty cool. I've talked about it before, that I think cults are badass. I think that if cults could actually work, it's all religion. It's all religion that fucks that up. It's religion that makes people satisfied with living that way, but then religion in the end that fucks it up. Maybe it's not even religion that fucks it up. It's human greed, because a cult leader will use the concept of religion, this big concept of there's a God or there's aliens that are going to come down and save us, and if you listen to me, they're going to save us first. Like, he uses some mythical, magical concept to get everybody to live a certain way, and it's often these small farmer communities like the Manson family, like really self-sustaining, peaceful places. And then the human greed of that leader makes them be like, well, I'm going to fuck all your wives, or I'm going to use this power I have over all you to make you guys commit crimes. Like, it always goes downhill pretty fast. Oh, man. I'd like to start a cult. What would I name my cult if I started a cult? I mean, I could have it sponsored. Call it the Royal Crown Club. The Royal Crown Club. We're a cult. I'll just call it cult. I'll be like, look, I'm going to put it out there. We are a cult. I'm not going to hide anything from you. It's like reverse psychology almost, but I'm not trying to fuck you out of anything. Like, I'll just tell you straight up, it's a cult. If you want to join a cult, come hang out with us. Come to an interest meeting down at the local community center. We hold them every Tuesday. The Royal Crown Club. What are our values, you might ask? Well, we are anti-currency. There's no money. Everybody eats. You come in and you're assigned a job, and you can apply for a switch if there's an opening. Will that work? Is that a dictatorship? No, it's not. It's not. It's perfect. It's fucking perfect. So you get some farmers, you get some people, and you know what? You come in and you say, this is my skill set. This is what I bring to the table. And we're like, you know what? We're actually looking for somebody that does that. Come on in. And if you don't have a skill set, then we assign you a job. But we do need a certain amount of farmers. We do need a certain amount of farmers and doctors. Those are the big ones. Those are the big positions, the big ticket items. But what doctors are going to be okay with making no money? That is something capitalism has drilled into my head. I mean, no way doctors back in the day were making millions of dollars. I mean, doctors now don't make millions of dollars, but you know what I'm saying. There's no way, like, witch doctors were, like, fucking rolling in it. I think they were just normal parts of the community. He happens to be a doctor. That's what he does for a living. He's a fucking baker. He's a metal worker. He's a doctor. And they all drink at the same bar together. You know, it's not like one is considered a lot more important than the other, even though I'm kind of saying it when I say I need farmers and doctors in my cult, that doctors are more important than some other professions. You need a lot of people. You need a lot of different professions. So you kind of have to do this on a large scale. It's like a GoFundMe, you know, but with people. Like, donate yourself to this cult. And once we have enough people that are willing to donate, then we start the cult. We don't start it until everybody's in. You know, it's not like we start it with 8 guys, because then it might blow up in our face. I don't even know what the fuck this came down to. I really do want to start a cult, though. I think that would be cool. I don't think I'm charismatic enough. I might need a charismatic leader. Mikey. If you guys don't know Mikey, I do the other podcast with him on this channel. He's the charismatic leader of the cult. I'll be the fucking, like, you know, inside baseball guy. He'll be like, you know, Brad Pitt in Moneyball, and I'll be Jonah Hill. I'm never the guy that you see, but I'm the guy making all the calls behind the scenes. I'm the wizard in the Wizard of Oz, and he's the big, you know, holographic image. That's what our dynamic is going to be. But I don't want to hide anything from the people. I have to, like, be so open about everything. Fucking everything. And there's no pressure to stay. If you want to go at any time, hey, that's on you. Do your thing. Go ahead. Yeah, take your family. We're not going to hold your family hostage here. That's not the type of cult we are. We're a wholesome cult. We're a wholesome cult that just believes in certain values, like treating everybody equally and fairly, and making sure that everybody eats and nobody goes hungry and nobody just dies unnecessarily. Those are our values at the end of the day. What is the view on sex, though? Here's where it gets a little tricky. Because I can see these big cult leaders being like, oh, I'm going to fuck all these people's wives because they look at me as some god. I wouldn't do that. I don't have it in me to do that. Because even if I really wanted to, I just don't have it in me. Because I'd be like, are you guys not fucking mad at me? I'm way too paranoid. If I, like, fuck somebody's wife because she saw me as some Jesus-like figure, I would definitely have to go to that guy and be like, dude, I'm sorry. My bad, man. That is on me. Sorry about that. Won't happen again. I would at least have to do that. I couldn't just do it and act like it didn't happen. Like some David Koresh shit. That seems psychotic. I don't know. I would try to establish it as like a free sex yoga cult. I think Mikey would do great at preaching that, because he's so into the idea of free love. He loves yoga. Yeah, we would just all be doing yoga all day. Be a fucking yoga cult. That's what we're going to do. Yoga cult. Everybody's wearing sheets. It's comfortable as hell. It's like bathrobes. Everybody's wearing that all day long. We're all doing, like, yoga routines. Everybody makes the same amount of money. Total socialism. I'm with it. And I'm not any richer or better than anybody else. That's the very important detail here. The very, very important detail is that I am the leader of this cult because I started it, but I'm not, like, making money. I'm not doing... There is no money. There is no money. Fucking Garden of Eden. Everything's just a big oasis of amazing. I know this sounds like a fucking fever dream rant I'm going on right now, but when you just are living in a certain way for a long enough time, you start to just have these big picture ideas about how the world could be so much better. I just think that would be so much better. Problem is, if somebody murders somebody, like, what are you going to do? Do you murder them back? We got to, like, establish a lot. I mean, maybe you just kick them out, but then do you report them to, like, the authorities that live in non-cult society? Be like, hey, by the way, this dude in our cult just murdered somebody. We didn't really know what to do. We don't know what to do about this, so go ahead, Uncle Sam, do your thing. Or do we have a jail? Because that seems weird too. To have your own jail, your own fucking little jail on cult property? Do you have to like hire prison guards? Or just have people in your cult like volunteer to be prison guards? Okay, this idea is getting way more complicated than I thought it would be. I just noticed that my mustache hair is a little long. I'm trying to grow a mustache. I think since I wear masks out in public, nobody will notice the growing process. It's the perfect opportunity to grow a mustache. And I think that's going to do it for me right now. I think that's going to do it for this podcast. This took a total left turn from where I intended it to go at the start. But thank you guys so much for watching. Drink RC Cola. Truly drink RC Cola. It's the greatest soda of all time. If you don't know RC Cola, go to your local Kroger. I think they sell it at Kroger's. I know they don't sell it at Wegmans, but go to your local fucking Kroger's and get yourself a 12-pack of RC Colas. You'll thank me for it. It's delicious. It has way too much sugar. It's super bad for you. Sway for president, and you guys have an awesome week.